sa ma ma pa ga ma re ni sa ma. Once upon a time, there was a crane meditating on the banks of a river, meditating for his meal. Re ni sa ma ma pa ga ma pa ni sa ga re sa. He saw a fish. Ni ra pa ma. He dived at it. Pa ni pa ma ga ma re ni sa ma. Mission accomplished. Here's a crane who's exhibiting exemplary leadership skills. Like Stephen Covey calls it, the habit of personal leadership. Leading yourself to what you consider as your aim or your goal. So why am I telling you this? Because I was nothing like this crane at all. So born in an army family with two elder sisters at number 3. So you see it? I was clearly not born to be a leader. So what I'm really essentially trying to say is, I became a leader by default, not by design. I never ever imagined that I would be essaying a leadership role ever in my life. But 20 years into my career into education, so I started as a preschool teacher, went on to do my special education, and I became a therapist, a counselor. 20 years into my career, I unexpectedly landed myself a leadership role. I became the principal of an international school, an IGCSE school. And I realized I was really not prepared for it. So I unconsciously began tapping into a dimension of myself that I had taken for granted. A dimension that was right in front of me, like it was my second breath. You're never conscious about your own breathing. That was what this was. And this was my music. I have been a classical singer, a Hindustani vocalist since the age of 3. So actually my mom says I've been singing from the womb, if you can quite picture what that might have been looking. But yes, I've been singing from a very young age. But 10 years into well-defined leadership roles, and I'm in a predicament today where I'm looking back and giving so much credit to my music. So there were TED Talks that I was listening to, there were books I was reading, there were seminars and symposiums that one is attending, all of that. But at my very core, I was leaning on my music and my musical talent and my musical, the whole way I was raised in a music family. I was leaning on that to navigate through all the difficult times in my leadership role. It was tough, but I had music by my side. And what I'm going to now share with you are just 10 of the hundreds of lovely things that my music has taught me, and hundreds of many things that I am because of the sanskar of music. So the first thing, listen with attention and with intention. All of Indian music, all of any music depends on listening. So really speaking, a good learner is a good listener. And just the same, a good listener is a good learner. And in a leadership role, it is one of the quintessential skills that we need to have, being a good listener. Listen with attention and with intention. My second learning. Let yourself be creative. Let yourself go, explore. So when I started learning music, my mother used to, when I started learning from her, she used to teach me, for example, an outline of a rag. So you say rag bhoop, sa re ga pa da sa da pa ga re sa. That's rag bhoop. So all she did was taught me a few ground rules. She said, hey, be careful. Don't sing sa da da pa, because that will become rag deskar. And that was it. The moment I had these ground rules in place, I was able to explore, I was able to be creative, and that's what stayed with me even today. Even today, as I run my own organization, I'm not interested in doing what others do. My whole focus is on being original, on being creative, and never aping. My third learning, don't try too hard. Super learning that I got, I was learning from Padma Bhushan Shobha Gurutuji. I was learning the Tuvri genre. And a couple of months into learning with her, I was traveling in the bus, taking the bus from Varali to Kabutar Khana. I was traveling in the bus and my friend asked me, she said, you know, I've been listening to you and there are times when you sing and then Shobha Gurutuji was called Mamiji. You know, Mamiji says, Wah, kya baat hai beta. How come, we've been learning from her for so many years, how come you're able to sing some of those nuances which we've been trying so hard? So I just looked at her and I said, you know, maybe I'm not trying. And that was one of the most liberating thoughts that I stayed with. The moment in my leadership role, the moment I stopped trying to be a leader, all I did was I was essaying my role with an eye on the goal. And that was it. My fourth learning from my music journey. Emotions matter. So you are aware that in Hindustani classical music, it is customary to end a concert with Bhairavi, right? I was performing on stage. I'd been singing for 2 hours and I'd reached a crescendo and I was performing my Bhairavi. And I was, you know, I'd gone into a trance and Vithala, I was chanting the name and I choked. And I just started crying and crying and crying and I couldn't stop myself. And it happens to date and I don't know why. I put down my tanpura, I opened my eyes and I had a standing ovation. It was my most profound learning that my music, I don't know whether I sang well or I didn't. Did I connect with the people in front of me? And that is something I hold so precious even today. No matter what anyone tells you, emotions matter. They are the juice of life. In fact, Sadhguru says, how deeply you touch someone is how rich your own life is. And by that measure, I'm a very rich person. And believe me, EQ is the new buzzword, we all know it, and it's here to stay. It ain't gonna go away anywhere. My fifth learning, the lower I can sing, the higher I could sing. So, you know, early morning, we don't like it, no? Riyaz karna tha. There was a time when we used to resent it, 7th, 8th, 9th May. I mean, I've been doing riyaz forever, I don't even know how. But 4 o'clock in the morning, get up. Kharja. Kharja bharayatsa manje, you have to be singing the kharja means to be singing the lower. Sa, ne, da, pa, pa, go down. So he was doing that riyaz. The lower I sing, the higher I can sing is something I suddenly chanced upon as I did more and more and more riyaz, because there was no more a struggle. And you know, the profound learning I'm sharing with you about this is, as I started my journey, the lower I started going, the deeper I started going, the more grounded I was, the more I started connecting with my inner self, the higher I started going. As leaders, we are constantly wanting to go up, right? We want to keep climbing that leadership ladder. But the point is that actually the more grounded we are, the more we are connected with ourselves and our inner selves, the higher are the chances of us going higher. So the lower you go, the higher you go. At number 6, have you seen those pictures of, you know, those stereotype pictures? Why? People doing this? Because there's music in front. So my mom taught me something very beautiful, and I will never forget that. She told me, beta, you are an excellent singer if people are going to sleep listening to you. Yeah, you heard that. Yes, and honestly, it's true. Let me ask all of you, do you remember times when the music is blaring loud, where you said, oh wow, I'm now going to take peaceful sleep? It ain't gonna happen. It never happens, because good music has to be peaceful, because that's what your soul seeks. And so I learned that. And so in my leadership style, I ask myself, are the people who are working with me able to sleep well? Or are they anxious, scared, depressed, worried, concerned about being in an organization that I'm running? If ever the answer to that question is yes, then I'm going to say my leadership style is not music to their ears and I need to really work harder. That's my learning. The next learning, at number 7, practice makes us perfect. Suniye na, we all heard that hundreds and hundreds of times. We all know it, be it music, be it sports, be it anything. Of course, practice, practice, practice. But you know what? Practice has not made me perfect, and perhaps it never will. 4 decades and counting, I'm practicing Hindustani music, and I don't think I'm ever going to reach perfection till my grave. But what practice is making me is prepared. Prepared for successes and failures. Only recently, my son, who's sitting here, he read a beautiful quote for me. It said, "You are born to be real, not to be perfect." And that's something I'm going to hold very close to me. It's not about perfection. It's about becoming the best version of yourself as you go along practicing. At number 8, I was 4 years old and I was at the All India Radio in Delhi. That was my first contract, and by the way, I used to get 10 rupees. I used to be paid 10 rupees to sing on All India Radio. So I wore my frock and I sat down and I set my frock down nicely and I sat in front of the interviewer, and there used to be a red light that used to go on, and the interviewer started asking me questions in Hindi. "Beta, are you going to sing a bhajan today?" So I said, "Beta, has your mummy come with you?" "Are you scared, bacha?" Finally, he looked at me and said, "Darling, you have to say yes or no. This is the All India Radio. Nobody can see you here." You can't blame me, folks. I was just 4 years old, actually just 3.5. So I so didn't know my audience. But today, I do. I ensure that from that episode, I have picked up a huge learning. Know your audience. You're my audience. My children are my audience. My parents are my audience. My team is my audience. Know your stakeholders. Know the people you are working with, working for, serving, leading. What an amazing learning for me. My number 9, sing to express, not to impress. Cliched, now we all know that. But extremely liberating for me. The moment I dropped the overarching thought that when I sit here on the stage, I have to impress the people, I started actually exploring myself. I started diving deep into myself, and I started reinventing myself, also discovering myself. It's similarly the same case in my leadership. Of course, I'm in a leadership role, but I'm not in a leadership role for anything else except impacting lives. So when I sing to express, I lead to impact. And finally, at number 10, enjoy. Enjoy what you do, and it shows. John Maxwell has beautifully put it that enjoyment is an incredible energizer to the human spirit. And I'm sure all of you agree with me. So when I get onto the stage, I tell my co-participants, hey, look, we need to just go up there and enjoy. In fact, just last week I was performing, and I was there, and I was given this wonderful bad news, just as I was going to go on stage, that, you know what, we don't have microphones, and it was an open air place. I said, seriously? Yeah, okay, whatever. I went up to my instrumentalist and I told them, look guys, we're going to go up there and we are going to go and do our practice, whether people can hear it or not. Just let's enjoy. Let's go and have majja. Let's go and have fun on stage. Enjoyment is really the one thing that connects all of us. So in conclusion, what I'm really trying to bring out here is, for the longest time, I considered that I was just singing. Or rather, it was one of those sidetracks that I really never gave more credit to. Better put, it was just a hobby. But my request to all of us here is, please do not consider your hobby as just a hobby. It is the one thing that is shaping you. Your creative pursuits, your recreational habits, your leisure time, it's the one thing that's making you alive. It's the one thing that makes me unique. That's what my music does. My music is making me unique. What's making you unique? I ask you. If you do not have it as yet, please find it, follow it, and flourish. It really works. Thank you.